Okay, and welcome back everybody to the second in the webinar series today on navigating my aged care. Specifically, we're looking at CSHP, Commonwealth Supported Home Package. I do it every time, don't I? One of you ladies say it for me. It's just crazy. All right, so I need to acknowledge Coda and hi to Janet Brown in NT. We were just chatting about you. Hope you're having a great day. Coda and the Navigators Trial have put this together, are funded by the Australian Government. However, today and our webinar series are sponsored by OPAN, the Older Persons Advocacy Network, 1800 700 600. I have Maria Berry to my left here. Maria Berry is Consumer Health Representative and OPAN Aged Care Consultant. Thank you, Maria. She's always wonderful to have on the panel.
Thank you.
Georgina Hill is next, Community Coordinator for Live Better here in Albury, but also halfway across Australia, isn't it?
Yes, Live Better is,
Yes.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And then finally, Elise Nolte down the end. Thank you. Elise comes as a team manager for the ACAT team here at Mercy Health Albury. Thank you so much, ladies. Just quickly on the journey board, you will note that we are now in step 4. That's looking at aged care services. We've gone through how you call, get on board, different types of assessments, and now we're actually going into aged care services themselves. This morning we have actually looked at quite a few topics in regards to CSHP, but we're going to be moving on now and looking at, I guess let's just recap again what services are available under the banner of CSHP, Commonwealth Home Support Programmes. Georgina.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are services that RAS Assessor will do. Implement a plan of support services that are relevant to the client. They can range from personal care, domestic assistance, shopping by way of social support, individual transport, home modifications, maintenance repairs to homes, basically.
Yeah.
But there's allied health, so attending occupational therapists to come and assess the home and see how the home can be improved to enable you to remain in the home.
And that's the whole purpose, isn't it? Today it's about keeping people safe, well, in their own homes. Beautiful. Lovely. Okay, so really this afternoon's chat is about providing services. So who provides the services and how we can actually find those? So I guess any of you ladies who wants to start this conversation?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks, Georgina.
There's
Thank
three
you.
ways of accessing a provider. You can when you have the referral codes, you can contact My Aged Care and they can send out a bulk referral. So they send it to all the providers in your area. Mm-hmm. You can ask for a specific provider if you've done your research on what provider you want, or you can ask for the list of the referral codes and you contact the providers yourself individually. Okay. So there's 3 different ways of being able to access the providers.
And you bring up a really important point, is that do the planning. Have a little look-see in your area and find what services are available, who's the providers, and what sort of things that may assist you.
Yeah, because they can be different, depending on
have you got anything to add to that, Elise, at all, in regards to who provides the services and finding them?
I guess just to support what you were saying about doing a bit of research around what the service providers are providing in the area that you live, because some providers will have a client fee that is different to others, and they may have guidelines around, what they, for domestic assistance, for example, they will have some rules about what they can and can't provide. Definitely. So it's about making, asking the questions that mean that you get the service that's right for you.
Yep. Gorgeous. Now there is actually a Find the Provider tool on the My Aged Care website. So it's, if we scroll down, beautiful, you'll find that if you can put a postcode in, so I'm very cleverly going to wand a postcode into there, and if we click on you'll see, beautiful, that it comes up with the provider, and also, because I can't see that far, I think what services, I think you can click on the provider and it tells what services are available.
That's
okay, yeah, beautiful. So there are many different ways, as you were suggesting, Georgina, to find a provider.
That's right. Definitely.
Great.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to be talking developing a care plan. So I think it's really important that we have that communication with the client as well about the care plan and about the services. Does anyone do you want to have a chat about that, or Maria? Yeah. Because I know that you've developed quite a few.
Certainly have, and I guess with the Charter of Aged Care Rights, which came in on the 1st of July, it really is opening up that opportunity that the care plan does need to be focused on what you want yourself. So it really is about enablement and empowerment and what you want, not what perhaps the coordinator might think that you want, but it's very, very much about what you want when doing that care plan. Yeah.
Beautiful. Georgina, anything else about care plans? And I guess it's a two-way.
That's right. I mean, depending under the Commonwealth Home Support Programme, there's domestic assistance, but on that, I mean, it is restrictive in a certain amount, of what you can provide and how under the domestic assistance services. You can, like the funding, depending on what referral you have, you can only, like if you have a domestic assistance referral, you can't go and do shopping. But there's different, but you can do shopping by list. There's different criteria, but basically the providers will try and have a plan that supports your enablement. So basically, what are you unable to do, or do you need help with? We don't go in saying, okay, even though you can vacuum, we're going to do that for you. We're not going to take over. You have control of what you want.
Good.
Of the services that you need.
And that's such an important point. I think that also comes down to reality and consumer expectation, and also the reason why we're giving these supports is to keep you at home, keep you safe, keep you well. We certainly don't want to diminish what activities you're already undertaking. So I think it's important to have that open, transparency type communication as well with the clients. Yeah, lots of nodding again down there. I love it.
Yes. Yep. So I wanted to add to that the Regional Assessment Service there's a lot of push behind making sure that there's a focus on the wellness and reablement aspect of client care, and that as part of that, the Regional Assessment Service have the ability to time limit some service, and not saying that at the end of that time it will be cancelled. It's just that it will be reviewed. Is this still meeting your needs, and do you still need this service? So they might, put a 6-month time limit on it so that it's reviewed, and we can work out, okay, is that still required, or does it need to look different?
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah. So we've got some questions just coming through. Now, anonymous question, what can you do if you're unhappy with your provider? So there is an opportunity, and definitely under the Charter of Aged Care Rights, you have the right to complain without any recourse. So there is an area on the My Aged Care website so that you can complain or put forward your concerns. Do you ladies have anything to add to that? Yes.
I get a lot of these kind of things come across my desk where clients are not happy with the service provider. The way that I usually manage it is try, if you are comfortable with that, to have a conversation with the service providers, that they know where you're coming from and they can try and meet your needs. If that does not happen, or you're not happy with the outcome of that, it's I guess the reality of the situation now is that you actually can vote with your feet. You can actually go to a different service provider, and the way that you would do that is through the Regional Assessment Service, or if you are able to do it yourself, advocate and find a different service provider. Use your referral code to activate.
Shop around.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I think it's time that the consumer has a really strong voice and a really strong input in finding these services, rather than the other way around, and that power dynamic with the, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right, good. So before we get on to how much will it cost me, which is going to be a good conversation, Let's just take one from Laurel, and thank you, Laurel. I'm loving your questions. What assistance is there for navigating the services for a single person who might be struggling cognitively and has nobody to help them? Now, again, I say advocacy services. There are a growing number of amazing advocates out there across Australia. 1800 700 600 is the national number, and you will go to OPAN and that will be filtered directly to your state. So give them a call. They will assist in navigating the My Aged Care website, call centre, authority, all sorts of things. Any other suggestions, ladies, in regards to assistance for someone that may be cognitively impaired?
I would be possibly looking at trying to get that investigated further, because through that process you may find an advocate through the health system that might be able to help you. So, if it might be going to your doctor and starting that process of investigating your cognitive impairment, if that's what you're experiencing or you're starting to experience, because through that process there's other advocates that might become available to you.
Just one more for the moment from Helen, who texted us at the end of last one, Helen, so I do apologise for that. When supporting a client to register for My Aged Care, I am asked for my private information. As a social worker, this links the person to me, which isn't appropriate. Elise, I'm going to go to you on this.
I agree. It's not appropriate. However, I don't believe that you should be having to provide your personal information. I think from memory, the first screen that comes up when you make a referral is your details. So you have to put in what your profession is. So whether you're a community worker, whether you're an ACAT worker, and then it's about putting, I think the email option after that is optional. So you don't have to put your email address in, but you do have to put your organisation name and your phone number, which I think probably is appropriate if you are the referrer. And if I'm getting the referral, I need to know who's referring and why. And we would probably have a conversation over the phone about, why the referral was made, just to get a bit more information and background. As far as I know, you shouldn't have to provide personal information.
Yeah. Beautiful, thank you. And we wouldn't want that either. No. And look, you're doing an amazing job supporting people, Helen, so thank you very much. All right, how much will it cost me? This is a big question for people and also for planning. And I think the clearest advice we can go is go to the website itself. Ladies, have you got anything to sort of, we were discussing it before, Georgina?
Under Live Better, I can't talk for other providers. Yes. We charge a rate of $10 an hour. But if the client is in financial difficulties, we can waiver that price. And as opposed to the Commonwealth Home Care Package, under the Commonwealth Home Support Programme, the client pays for the services that they receive. So if you only receive one domestic assistance service a week, that's all you pay for. So it's a user pays system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does the money go into their account, or do you know what I mean? I'm just being really
the fund, the support. No. It's paid as a block funding.
Okay.
Block funding to Live Better, and then Live Better get that. I don't know the actual amounts.
Yes.
We get the block funding, and then that's distributed between how many clients we can fit into that block funding.
Beautiful.
And then the clients then contribute the $10 per hour, which is basically subsidised. Their services are subsidised by the Commonwealth Government.
Yeah. So if they're eligible, they're expected to contribute to the cost of the care. And the cost depends on the type of service and the provider themselves.
That's right. That's correct.
Good. So if we have a quick look onto the website, and it says Commonwealth Home Support Programme costs, you can scroll down there and you will see that if you disagree with the amount, if you can't afford the contribution, will it also affect your pension? All that information is there. So it's quite comprehensive in regards to answering those questions.
That's right.
Now again, this is quite different to home packages. Home packages are a different stream. They require an ACAT assessment, and there are different levels, 4 of them, and they will have a fees estimated, and there is a calculator actually on the My Aged Care website, which is fantastic as well. But this is different, isn't it? Yeah.
It's not means tested.
No.
The CHSP service is not means tested. However, the home care packages fees are means tested. So.
And that's one of the biggest questions we get, you know, and I think today is just really highlighting the difference between the 2 streams. Yeah. Great. Good on you. So let's go. Now, there's no exit fees. We need to acknowledge that, and no other fees to worry about, which is actually really good as well when we're trying to work out. Contributions from those who can't afford it help providers continue to offer their support for local community. Now, one of the things that we came up with earlier in our discussions was capacity. This is also another frequently asked question, and something that's also challenging within the provider and I guess assessor background. So I'm going to start with yourself, Elise. So what is capacity?
I guess it's about, do we mean in terms of service providers?
Yeah.
So it's about how much availability there is for that service provider to provide that service. So in terms of the block funding, that's managed by the provider, and it's about, do you have the funds in your block funding to be able to provide more help to more clients? So I guess that's what we're talking about when we talk about capacity, and something that we're finding unfortunately is that capacity is drying up pretty quickly because there's a great need for the help, and I mean that's something that's being constantly reviewed behind the scenes. Absolutely. So
yeah, I know it's being reviewed a great deal. Maria, do you have anything to say on capacity at all?
I guess Elise has really covered it. Capacity is, well, for example, was the coming up to the end of the financial year this year, there was a call out with our rural area, trying with some clients looking for support and contacting different organisations and everybody at capacity. It was a tough time for people, but in that period too there were other things implemented, like other health providers or so forth, doing everything they could to ensure that somebody received something and some support at home.
Okay, beautiful. Lovely, excellent. So we've covered who provides the services and developing a care plan, and looked briefly at how much it will cost me. And again, I'd recommend going to the Commonwealth Home Support page and looking at different costs, and I guess having a different look at what's going on. So in regards to and I'm just having a little bit of a brain fog, so someone else bring up the conversation. What else would you like to add about Commonwealth Home Support Packages program?
I guess just to mention another issue is also staffing. You know, organisations can be at capacity with staffing. The cry out for more staff is also part of the process.
Yeah, and
Yeah, because I mean, predominantly you're hiring staff that are on casual basis, and you know they might change to go to a full-time position, and also it's the training. You know, the costs involved for them to pay for that training out of their pocket before they actually even start it can be quite substantial. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I guess the other thing is the load for that particular staff member is sometimes great. So if you go to someone's house and they need a lot of help in the shower, and then you're having to go to the next client's house who then needs their bed sheets changed, and so there's a lot of physical labour. So sometimes it's about weighing up the risk to the client, the risk to the care provider. And making sure that their work is varied enough so that they don't sustain any injuries, because that is an issue also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they have the variety in work too, variety in clients. They, the care workers do like that. Yeah.
So, and a big thank you out there to the amazing workers that, don't get a great deal of acknowledgement but do an amazing job. So thank you for all your hard
And
work.
make a massive difference to people's lives.
Yes.
Certainly do.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about the feedback, the positive feedback of having someone stay at home.
Because some of the clients treat the care workers as like a friend more than, which is what sometimes it'll be the only person that they have visiting their home. So it's very important. They're not there just sometimes just to do domestic assistance, or sometimes sit down and just have a cuppa because that's what they want. They're there to provide the service that the person needs, and sometimes they just need someone to talk to them.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, ladies. Okay, question from Rachel. You mentioned that many services are at capacity. Does that just mean that people will have to wait, and for how long? The how long is a bit difficult to answer, but I'm going to go to Elise down the end. Yeah.
We were talking earlier about trying to be a little bit flexible in how you look at things. So looking at what it is that's required and how we can best meet that need. So if it, is there a way that we can tap you into flexible respite as opposed to, personal care, or trying to be a little bit, flexible in your thinking as to how to meet that need. Yes, capacity is really difficult, and certainly, as Maria said, at the end of the financial year, it was tough for everybody. There's not really much we can do. How long you wait, I don't know.
Right.
But it's about tapping into some of the other services that are available too that Maria was also speaking about.
And again, coming back to being prepared, being aware,
That's
researching, getting out there and being proactive in ageing positively. So I know recently I just went and had my power of attorney and my will and all sorts of things going in readiness. Look out, here I come. All right. So again, Laurel, thank you. You've got some great questions, and we've got some great questions today.
Excellent.
How can we cater? How can a? I'm sorry, I think Tom's typed it incorrectly. Okay. How can we help when a client, such as a person with dementia, denies any need? That's a toughie. That's a real toughie, and it's quite real as well.
Definitely.
That stoic independence, non-acknowledgement of decreasing capacity at times. Anyone want to help Laurel out with this one?
I guess with someone with dementia, sometimes it's about working out if they're a different capacity, but working out if they have the capacity to make that decision. As family members of someone who has dementia, it's important to be there at the assessment so that the assessor can get an accurate picture about what's happening, because often you'll go to someone's house who possibly has some cognitive impairment and you're not getting an accurate picture, which makes it really difficult to organise a support plan or some services that the person needs. So I guess, the steps would be to make sure that a family member is present, and also the assessment team might decide to try and work out if you have capacity to make that decision, to not accept services. And if that's the case, there's not a lot we can do.
Definitely. Because it's client-based. Sometimes I have situations where the family member might want a client to do, have say their hair washed, and the client doesn't want their hair washed. We can't force the client, regardless of their cognitive ability, to have their hair washed. So they've got to sometimes remember that they still have the choice. We can't, regardless of their cognitive ability, they still have a choice in their care, and that's the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
And the link to dignity of risk too for the person.
That's definitely.
So important, so important. And again, the Charter of Aged Care Rights interweaves with all of this, and if they say no, then no is no.
That's it, definitely.
Beautiful. All right, so Eliza has a question. If a client is receiving a home support package, can they also access support via CHSP when the funding is running low? Yeah.
Sorry,
I
feel
keep
I'm
looking at
talking
you.
over. No. So yes, the short answer to that is yes, but there are some rules around
Yeah.
it. So if you
Caveats.
are receiving a home care package 1 or a home care package level 2, you can top up that funding with some CHSP services. But if you are receiving a home care package 3 or a home care package level 4, you are not eligible to do that. It would be a time limited to, we would need to be making sure that there's another plan in place. So are you on the waiting list for a higher level package, or what's the plan? We don't want to be continuing to have home care package as well as CHSP on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we also have to make sure that we're meeting everyone's needs as well.
That's right.
Yeah, especially when there are such things as capacity, etc.
That's right.
Yeah. Beautiful. So we are live streaming here from Albury, and we were particularly talking earlier about some of the challenges that the rural environment or the rural geography brings about. So I just thought, whilst we've got a few moments more of the afternoon, shall we recap on some of the challenges or the beauty of living rurally and receiving CSHP? Yep, Georgina.
Oh, okay. Again, as discussed in the earlier webinar, the problems you can have is travel. And due to the capacity of staff, having the staff travel out, to rural areas can be difficult because it takes up the time that you could be spending with other clients in town. And not that the clients rurally are any less important.
No.
You've just got to try and fit it in with what you have available.
Yeah.
And like Elise said, the risk assessments, we do risk assessments as well. You can have different, like travelling to the client's home, there can be issues, especially even if you're doing personal care mornings and afternoons, meal prep, kangaroos, weapons, and things that you don't have in, which are acceptable out in the country, but aren't or in rural areas, not in the city areas. That care workers, and you've got to take into consideration when doing risk assessments as well.
And the fee as well, the travel costs, and that's all added on to the client. Is that correct?
Live Better doesn't, not under the Commonwealth Home Support Programme. We don't charge that extra, but it's something we have to absorb, and that means that because we have block funding that comes out of the funding, so that money could be used on another client who could require services. We only got that funding, so that means that's getting absorbed, so we can have to provide less services.
Yes, and that's what I really wanted to sort of clarify there.
And some other service providers are passing on those costs, so it's important to ask that question.
Yes, we were discussing earlier about how important it is to shop around and really just see what your provider is and what they provide and the costs, because it's going to be quite different across the board, isn't it?
Yeah,
beautiful.
Comparison.
Oh, Laurel, look out, you're on fire, love. Okay, what can be done for the carer when the older person denies the services? So I'm assuming personal carer at home. So I'm thinking, I'll ask it again. What can be done for the carer when the older person denies services? So it's about the older person, and we have to acknowledge them first and foremost, Laurel. So if they say no, they say no.
What you could, depending on the client, you could put in carer's respite, so they're not actually having a service. Maybe they have a sleep in the afternoon. The client will have a sleep, so the carer could go out, into town for a couple of hours. And there are other ways, or just have someone come and visit you. We have a volunteer visitor scheme as well, where volunteers can come to the person's home, and it's just sometimes suggesting different things that they're against it initially. It's just but when they try them, like social groups, there are different things that you can try and slowly invest, talk to them about, it's just something new that they're worried about more than the actual, and acknowledging that they may need help is the hardest step sometimes.
And sometimes it's a slowly approach. So it's linking in with the client's interests to then try and slowly introduce other services.
Yep. Lovely. Yeah. So this is why we have expertise in the room, isn't it? I love it. Okay, Angie, can someone with NDIS package top up with CHSP? No. That's a clear no. So yes, and thanks Angie for asking the question.
Can I just add something to that?
can.
If it was, and not that this is my area of expertise, but we do have a bit of, some of this stuff come across our desks too.
Yep.
It's about going back to the NDIA and having your plan reviewed if you're not getting enough service through the NDIS. Basically, it's very different funding streams.
Yeah. Different pocket.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, beautiful. And we've got one last question here. Anonymous question: does the Commonwealth provide organisations with additional funding to do rural and remote work? If not, is it something that OPAN can advocate for? Oh. Thanks, Anonymous. I know that OPAN are definitely having discussions, and we're doing a lot of work in the background in regards to really reaching out to rural and remote. We, for instance, these very webinars themselves. So we are definitely trying to advocate for rural and remote. Is there anything else that you feel that you can add there, Maria, as our consumer health representative?
I think just reinforcing what you're saying, Marie, there's lots of work being done in the background, lots of discussions at the moment about how we can best serve and look after our rural ageing. Yeah, absolutely. And it's very much on the hot topic at the moment. So.
Yes, look out. There will be more of these webinars and live events coming forward in the next 6 months. I can probably say that. How's that sound? All right. So, ladies, we are now, 12:31. Look how quickly it goes. I'd like to thank you all very, very much. Very warm thank you from OPAN and to all our viewers for your expertise and your time. Thanks to Tom in the background. He's amazing. And we will get on to you via our website and next 2 weeks, I think it is, for the next of the webinar series. This one will go up 72 hours. There will be an information sheet that will follow shortly after, and please join the Facebook page for any discussions and web links, etc. So take care everybody, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Bye-bye.